Welcome back to Going Walkabout. You want to enjoy the pure vida, celebrating living in the moment? Then you must visit Costa Rica, which translates to rich coast. With over 500,000 animal species, 900 of which are birds, from rainforests to volcanic formations, this small country of only 5 million people seems to have it all. Literally, the central country in Central America. In this video, we'll explore the country while we give you 7 tips that will help you have a successful trip on your visit. Greetings. We've now been in Costa Rica almost a month. We started out in the north of the country, staying in a treehouse near the Nicaraguan border. And we are now in the southwest part of the country in a place called Quepos. And Quepos is right on the border of the Parque Nacional Manuel Antonio, which many would say is the best eco-park in the world as far as animal diversity goes. And so we've learned a lot and wanted to tell you 7 things that you should know about and will help you prepare for having a great trip to the Pure Vida country of Costa Rica. At number 1, we have plan to fly into San Jose, which is their main airport for the country. You'll find that the tickets there are usually less expensive as well. And get in early enough that you can drive to your actual destination, wherever that might be, if you're staying up in the rainforest area in the north, or if you're staying more by the beaches in the southern areas on either coast. And that's because there's not a lot to see in San Jose, and actually the crime there is very high. So no need to kind of stay a night or two and get used to the place. Better just to head right off to your destination. With that said, if possible, plan on arriving early enough in the day that if you are driving and your drives are going to be anywhere from 3 to 4 hours to get to whatever destination, that you're driving in daylight hours. And that's because the roads in the country are mostly 2-lane highways wherever you go. And then if you go to smaller roads, you have to consider the fact that there's a lot of animals here. And so you've got to deal with animals, you've got to deal with a lot of people on scooters and mopeds and motorcycles. So best to get to Costa Rica during the day and have a full day knowing that you're going to travel to your destination at that point. At number 2, we have rent a car. Make sure that you do that ahead of time if at all possible. There are a lot of car hire places near the airport. However, you at least want to reserve a car online before you get here. They do require 3 types of insurance. You're going to need third-party liability insurance. You're going to need coverage for the theft, and then you're also going to need vandalism. And the car companies, we used Adobe, they supplied the insurance for that. It is important because, as I mentioned to you, they do have a bit of a problem with crime. And 2 of the biggest areas that get hit a lot are folks breaking into cars and stealing valuables. So it's pretty important that you not keep anything of any value in the car. If you do have your luggage and so forth in there, do not leave the car unattended. Make sure that you're in a line of sight if you stop for lunch or something, that you can see the car, because people do break into them. And lastly, get a sturdy car. Don't scrimp. Don't try to get something that's less expensive. It's really important that you get a sturdy car. All terrain is better because the roads, again, especially getting to some of the homes and smaller places, can be rustic is the best way I can say it. And so you need a car that can deal with large potholes and going over pretty much all terrain. And you'll be glad that you did that. Number 3, we have money, which you're going to need. They have their own money. It's called the Colón. It was actually named after Christopher Columbus. There's 514 roughly colones to the dollar. This means that numbers get really high as you go to buy things. It can be incredibly confusing, especially when you're grocery shopping and you see that something is 6,000 colones. So just be prepared for that. If you need a calculator or if you're good at doing math in your head, great. But things are high. You can use US dollars, and they will accept US dollars in mostly all places. So as a fallback, if you didn't get any money at the airport, you can usually use US dollars. I've also found that credit cards are very widely accepted, even American Express which is fantastic because we use American Express a lot for points. They do have ATM machines. If you go to an ATM machine, you're going to need to get out a certain amount. I have been getting 400,000 colognes out, which seems like a lot of money. That basically is about 800 US, and that lasts us for well over 10 days. Number 4, we have something that was a good segue from the last topic, and that's that the prices here. I know that I expected things to be less because it's a Central American country, and I just assumed that it would be cheaper, but it is not at all. They have pretty bad inflation here, and then on top of that, everything that they get here has to be imported. So things that are from here, like rice and beans, vegetables, those are pretty fairly priced. But anything that has to be imported, you think of butter, different cheeses, sauce to make spaghetti sauce, anything that has to be imported is substantially higher than even what I was used to. I was shocked the other day. I got a stick of butter and some pepper, and that was $12 for those 2 items. And believe me, the Costa Rican people feel it as well. They have to buy stuff from the same grocery stores, so just be prepared for that. With that said, if you go out to eat, they add a 10% service fee. So you don't need to tip because 99.9% of the restaurants add a 10% service fee. Then they also add a 13% sales tax. So let's just say you're a couple like we are and you go out for lunch and dinner, and that's $100. Then you have to pretty much add $23 a day to your budget because that's what you're spending with that 23%, which adds up to like $151 more a week. We have found that due to that, it's much less expensive for us to just eat in. Despite the fact that groceries are also expensive, it's less than it would be if we went out to eat every day. So those are things to consider when you come here. It is gorgeous, but you do have to pay a little bit of a price for it because they are in a difficult part of the world and it's hard for them to get things imported here easily. A little bit like Hawaii. At number 5, it's a good, again, segue from the last topic, which is how do you save money on a trip coming to Costa Rica? And I would say one of the biggest things that you can look at doing is coming during the rainy season, which is basically from May to November. What we have found is that yes, it does rain pretty much every day, but it usually doesn't rain until either late afternoon or evening. So if you're going to be doing excursions during the day or going to the beach, it doesn't inhibit that whatsoever. We actually like the rain, probably because we come from the desert where it never rains. So we actually really enjoy the rain. With that said, the cost savings can be quite substantial. So we've now been in 3 different homes since we've been here. In the first house, and this is based on a 7-day, 1-week period, the difference from the rainy season to their dry season was a savings of $1,323. The second home we stayed in, again, same kind of calculation of 7 days, would have been a savings of $525. And the house that we're in now, the third house, had we stayed during the dry season as opposed to the rainy season, we would have spent $903 more. So I find those savings pretty substantial, and then they can be used for doing excursions or trips or your car rental. So it's important to sort of think about things like that. And like I say, we've thoroughly enjoyed the rain. We think it's lovely. Number 6, we have pack light, and that's on 2 areas. Pack lightweight clothing and then pack lightly. You don't need a lot of different clothes here. It's not a fashion contest at all. It's not one of those kind of places like Rome or, France. It's super humid, as you can tell by my highly curly hair. And so you need clothes that are cotton, linen. Drip dry is really your best bet so that things can wash and dry quickly. You want good shoes, whether that's hiking type boots or really good running shoes, because again, you're going to be walking down a lot of dirt paths, especially if you go on any kind of an eco tour. And in many cases, they'll actually give you boots to wear because the mud during the rainy season can get pretty bad. So don't bring anything fancy. Certainly don't bring any fancy jewelry or watches or anything like that. Again, that is just kind of a temptation for people, and theft and crime is a little bit of a problem. So your best bet is to pack light clothes. And then if you can, bring some sunscreen and some repellent. Again, because those are imported items, they're more expensive. You can get them pretty much in all the grocery stores. You're just gonna probably pay double or triple the price that you'd pay if you just packed them. So bring those along with you. At number 7, we have, don't try to see too much on your trip here. The country is small, so you can theoretically drive all around it. It's just that the highways are 2-lane highway, and you really, like I said, want to be driving mostly during the day. Also, you want to take some time and really enjoy the surroundings. We have found that the Airbnb rental works well because you get an opportunity to let the animals come to you. And in all of the homes we've stayed in so far, we've had monkeys coming through, we've had beautiful different birds coming through, we've had blue butterflies just floating by, and lizards, basilisk lizards. So a lot of the times, if you can just kind of stay in one place and enjoy the surroundings there, you're going to see a lot, or maybe even as much as you'd see in some of the eco parks. So we would say, you know, try not to overdo it and try to see too many things while you're here, because just the nature is in itself really special, and which is why it's such a special place in the world. In addition to the fact that we believe that the Airbnb is a good way to go here in Costa Rica, as you're reading about different places, really scrutinize how the place is built. There are a lot of creepy crawlies here. There's a lot of spiders, there's 6 different types of scorpions, and if you don't want to have nightmares about those things, then you want to make sure you stay in a home that is very well buttoned up as far as all of the different doors and windows and so forth. And the other thing that we noticed is that we didn't think we would need air conditioning. However, and this could be due to our age, but we have definitely needed air conditioning. We oftentimes only use it a little bit during the afternoon, but I would say if you're susceptible to heat making you uncomfortable, make sure the home that you look at has more than just ceiling fans, that it also has air conditioning. And that's something that we learned the hard way by having a house that didn't have air conditioning. It was a bit too uncomfortable for us. And that's it. Those are our 7 tips that we've learned thus far that we hope will help you have a great trip to Costa Rica, Pure Vida. If you enjoyed the video, believe me, a thumbs up really helps, or better yet, subscribe. We do a new video every week. Thanks so much for watching, and cheers for now.